come May the 7th, could all this be theirs? That's what UKIP are driving towards. After a decade dominating the European elections, this year they're changing gear in their ground campaign to win Westminster seats.
We're getting the people that were Conservatives and have been left behind by the Conservative Party. We're getting the Labour voters who feel there's nothing in common now with the Labour Party. The working class don't represent them. And also, probably most interesting, we're getting the people that have just given up on the whole process completely. And now they find UKIP and we're speaking for them. You know, we're speaking with them, not at them.
It's a new approach, keeping the culture that we have, improving it, rather than changing it.
These people that are in at the moment, they've come from university and they haven't lived.
They also seem like ordinary
people. Yeah, they do seem like ordinary people.
Yeah, people like us.
Over the past 5 years, support for UKIP has strengthened in the East.
It seems to come from constituencies on the coast that have seen better days. They've gone downhill. You know, in the 1950s and 60s, some of these places were prosperous because this is where people went on holiday. Now they don't go on holiday, and some of them have become really quite run down as a consequence. And there's a sense in which a lot of people in those communities feel left behind.
UKIP hope Douglas Carswell keeps Clacton, won last year in the by-election. They're challenging in seats up and down the East Coast, from Great Yarmouth to Basildon. But in 2 Essex seats, polls put UKIP within a whisker of winning. In the East last year, they took dozens of seats off the Conservatives and Labour. In Basildon, even the Tory council leader wasn't safe.
In this part of Essex, South Essex, they see the green belt being eaten up by housing. They blame that on immigration. Trouble with the NHS getting appointments with doctors.
And they're blaming you and then voting UKIP?
Well, what they're blaming, I think, is immigration, blaming the EU, and seeing UKIP as a repository for their protest.
Research shows that areas like this, with barely any ethnic minorities, a below-average university population, which is predominantly blue-collar workers, is fertile ground for UKIP. But there are some quirky factors too. As one UKIP activist told me, where there's a wimpy, they have a winning chance. Luke Spillman lives here in Castle Point and works with vulnerable people. He was a Labour supporter who has defected to UKIP.
Labour, who are so entrenched in their own ideological positions and with their own special interests that they cannot tackle fundamental problems in the welfare system.
And the difference this time? In 2010, only 12% did not vote for the 3 main parties. This time, that is likely to be much higher. UKIP hope to ruin the solid majorities of the main parties this May.